Hey everyone, Ben here and welcome back to the channel. This is the third installment of a series I'm working on with Race Department to celebrate the things that individual sim racing titles do best. In part 1 we looked at AMS2, in part 2 we checked out Race Room, and in part 3 we're looking at Assetto Corsa Competizione from Kunos. Now, recent viewers of the channel will have noticed I've been playing an increasing amount of ACC over recent months. It's a sim I've owned for a long time, but I've never really lost myself in. That is until the 1.8 update dropped at the end of 2021, making substantial improvements to the force feedback, tyre model and various other aspects of the game. One thing we should get out of the way at the beginning: you should take it as read that this is almost certainly the best GT3 and GT4 simulator you're going to find today. The range of cars, the attention to detail, the authenticity of each specific car, and the way they all have their own quirks and distinct feel, yet are generally speaking well balanced against one another across a season of racing. Don't get me wrong, other games do these classes well, but if they're going to be your primary focus in sim racing, you really should be playing ACC. But I'm not going to waste your time spending minutes talking about that in general terms. Instead, I want to home in on 3 things which I think really elevate the experience of playing ACC, whether you're obsessed with modern GT racing or not. Remember, if you find yourself enjoying the video, please do leave a like and get subscribed so you don't miss out on other videos in this series. And whether you agree or disagree with the points in the video, let me know in the comments. As a general rule, sim racing titles can be a mixed bag when it comes to presentation and user experience. Menus can be bewildering, graphics can be outdated, and in-race displays can be confusing or significantly lacking key information. All of which can add up to a frustrating experience until you get used to the idiosyncrasies of particular titles, or download a bunch of mods and overlays to compensate. But I think ACC stands out against the competition as having the most straightforward and polished front end, the easiest to navigate menus, the best graphics, and the most effective stock heads-up display elements, including a radar and a spotter. Because of this, even though the title is still evolving with significant updates to core systems of the game and a substantial roadmap of new content expected for 2022, ACC gives the feeling of being the most complete or finished sim on the market, much more so than other titles that very definitely have more of a work in progress feel to them. If all of this sounds superficial, I really don't think it is. User experience matters for how generally enjoyable a sim is to play out of the box. If you're pressed for time and are squeezing in sim racing alongside study, work or family life, needing to go through 4 or 5 steps before you can hop into a race can be enough to make you think twice about even loading the sim up in the first place. And even though they're nothing without robust physics, force feedback and other elements, the quality of graphics is a huge factor in how immersive a sim title can be. And recent DLSS updates mean that even more systems can now enjoy the best of the visuals that ACC has to offer. Finally, the fact that I can boot up a session of ACC without needing to also download and open 3 other programs to do so is a real bonus. Of course, you can enjoy Race Room without Autohood and Crew Chief, Assetto Corsa without Content Manager, and it is possible to run iRacing without something like RaceLab overlays. But the experience of each is infinitely better with those third-party add-ons. Whereas in ACC the game comes ready loaded with a spotter, relative board, key setup information, a radar and all the race information you could possibly want. Just double click the game in Steam and you're ready to race. How realistic a sim's tyre model is can be as controversial and subjective a conversation as which title has the best force feedback. Above a certain level of quality, everyone is likely to take a slightly different view depending on personal preference, the sim racing gear you have at your disposal, and what you're ultimately looking for from your sim racing title. So I'm not necessarily saying that ACC has the most realistic tyre model of all sims. I don't really feel qualified to say that. But I do think it has the most sophisticated and engaging tyre model, both on and off track, especially after the recent 1.8 update. Generally speaking, I think the tyre model feels authentic and predictable, making the driving experience an enjoyable one. But even if you've just started playing ACC for a short while, it's probably become apparent just how crucial getting the tyres into the right operating window is to achieve good and consistent times. Getting the right tyre compounds and pressures to match track conditions and temperatures is key for having the grip you need, and will need to be calibrated depending on the length of the race you're running and how track conditions might change across race distance. And then there's the need to look after your tyres through longer sessions, given you will very likely have a limited number of sets to run during a race weekend. Sliding the car aggressively or worse spinning will see tyre temperatures, graining and wear increase and can even result in flat spots, the effects of which can last long after the incident itself and potentially wreck an entire race or stint. Each of these impacts can be felt through the handling of the car, as well as displayed through clear on-screen graphics and post-session pit menus, where the level of wear, graining and tyre performance can be seen. All of which means adapting your driving style to the conditions and race you're running are key. Now for some people this might all sound a bit tedious, and that's absolutely fair enough, and you might also prefer other sims in this regard, but the Tyre Model in ACC does bring an undeniable level of depth and strategy to the experience of racing. Sound is a much underrated element of racing sims and can be crucial in making you feel like you're actually sat in the cockpit of your virtual car. After all, we have far less sensory information in our home sims than you would have in real life, so just as force feedback is key, so is the audio that you're provided too. I do feel like I need to immediately issue an apology to Raceroom at the start of this final section. It's a really close run thing, and the sounds in Raceroom are excellent in their own right, with amazing engine notes for virtually every car in the game. But for me, ultimately the sound as a whole is just superior in Assetto Corsa Competizione. It begins as soon as you arrive at the track for a session, with the atmosphere of race day being built by crowd noise and live interviews being carried out over the race circuit tannoy, and then when you get racing, not only are the engine sounds brilliantly sampled for every car, but the wider environmental sounds are, for me, easily the most visceral in sim racing. The clanks and the thuds of your car as you wrestle it over curbs and around the track do a brilliant job of immersing you in the sim. Just take a listen to this. So there you go, the three things that for me ACC currently does better than any other title. Of course, much like AMS2 and Raceroom in the previous videos in this series, ACC does lots of other things well too. The tracks are fantastic, dynamic weather and day and night cycles work brilliantly as well. But this isn't designed as a comprehensive review of the game, more a celebration of the things which really stand out for me. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please do remember to leave a like to help more people find the video on YouTube, get subscribed, and I will see you on the next one.